Now we're live. Excellent. Welcome, YouTube. Good to go. So without further ado, let's crack into this. All right. We're going to get a little warm-up going on right now. Well, we're going to have to back everybody up because YouTube won't be able to see the floor. Well, that's Austin. Okay. All right, y'all. So let's get this camera situated one more time. Apologies, everybody. Bring that back. Bring that back. Just there. Let's see what we got going on there. Make sure everybody can see this okay. Okay, perfect. All right, my assistant. So we're going to start out. Let's get the body nice and warmed up. We'll start out actually without the kettlebell. Okay? So we're going to do a little bit of hip circle. Okay? Get the hips nice and loose. And we're going to come back the other way. Good. Then we'll open up the chest. Okay. Then we'll open up the shoulders. Good. Good. And then we'll do a few bodyweight good mornings. Okay. When you come up, think about just standing, not leaning back. So let your glutes get tight, and that'll be your stopping point. So you don't lean back for your good mornings. Then we'll grab our kettlebell. And we'll do a few rounded bodies. Okay. Let's go back the other way we came. Go. Then we'll bring the belt up. Do a few halos. Good. Then we'll hit into a squat. Nice curl. Stand back up. Squat. Curl. One more. All right. All good. All right, y'all. So, with our Turkish get-up, how we want to improve? We want to improve the points of transition, right? Come on, Austin. Let's go. Come on. All right. So our points of transition are going to be everything from how we start to how we finish, right? So demonstration-wise, I'm just going to go body weight on this so you can get a good understanding of how to move. I'm going to ring all you guys YouTube. So first thing that should be considered with your Turkish get-up is your hand placement whenever you're doing your get-up. Now, if you grab the kettlebell just anywhere, you're not going to get consistent feedback. And without consistent feedback, you're not going to be able to improve. So if you consistently start the same way, you're going to get the same outcome. And the only way to get stronger is through the quality of your repetition. So when you insert your hand into the kettlebell, focus on getting your pinky side closest to that horn, okay? Just close to it. Just nick it, okay? And then once you get that kettlebell into position, secure it by creating a little bit of flexion, like an arm wrestling match, to secure that kettlebell. The weight is going to pull you into a straight wrist position. And that's all we want to do. Now, the other thing to consider is where should your elbow be at when you go to roll to position, right? If you have your elbow tucked in close to the body, then you have a great leverage point, right, to be able to roll, and then your forearm is nice and vertical, okay? If you're up here, and then you're in this position, and then right here, and then your elbow will bend, your wrist is, improper, it's extended, and all of your joints, your wrist and your elbow are all just unstable. So to prevent that, your start is going to dictate how you proceed, right? So from a side view, this is, if we're laying on our back, our elbow is going to be pretty close to the body, and then we're going to be here, and we're going to roll to position, And then from here, it's important to do this. Press with 2 hands because your hands might be sweaty, you might be fatigued, and the confidence of the Turkish get-up is sustaining that lockout position. Sometimes that floor press can be challenging, but once we're there, that light bulb turns on. We're like, oh, okay, cool. I can do this get-up now because it feels safe and stable. So when we lock that kettlebell out, and you have that horn compressed to the pinky, it's going to prevent your arm from rotating as much, right? If it does rotate, there's probably a little bit of congestion or immobility going on in the trap, in the pec, in the lat. And those are some things that you'd want to assess prior to doing your Turkish get-ups so you have a successful training session, right? So now that we've got this aspect going down, then we would migrate into our next phase, which would be how do we actually get off the ground, right? So how do we get off the ground for the get up, right? So we're right here, and right. So how do I get up? Like, do I just go straight up? Do I go to the side, then roll up? Well, what you want to think is you want to think about lengthening your body, right? So if I'm doing my get up with my right side, right, this is going to be my power source to help push me from the floor up. So I'm going to push really, really hard into the ground, right? Now, what we don't want is we don't want to have our left leg come up when we roll. And that looks like this, right? And that happens because you're doing a crunch to get up. So you'll notice that the kettlebell will go from here, and then it'll look like this. And you're like, God, get-ups are so hard, blah, 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 blah. But if you maintain a posture throughout the get-up, right, to where you lengthen that leg, right? So I'm trying to get that leg to that wall over there, right? I'm also going to make sure that my head and neck stays firmly planted to the ground when I take my big breath in, right? So I'm right here. I got everything stable. I got this foot getting ready to push into the ground, and I got that leg ready to lengthen out. Now, what do I do with this hand? Well, if you can imagine that this is a knife, and you drive that knife into the ground, that downward force is going to drive your elbow into the ground, and it's going to help give you an additional support with your foot. So you have 2 points of power to help propel you to this half rolled position right here. It's driving the heel of your foot into the ground, and it's driving your elbow in that pretend knife, that imaginary knife, into the ground. So you finish in this nice posture right here. And then when you come down, you practice that. You apply pressure of the elbow into the floor and of the heel into the floor. So we're right here, here. And then as you come up, if the weight is too heavy, everything will close in. So that's your sign to regress back on your belt size or to get stronger at this position, right? So there's a lot of things going on right here. You're trying to lengthen that leg. You're trying to push that knee out. You're trying to keep your chest nice and proud. So get stronger at your base to be able to improve how you're going to progress through. All right. So we've got some points of performance for the get up. The first one where we can get stronger at is going to be a floor press. Okay. So floor press, get in your position for your floor press. Do your floor presses. That's going to be 1 point that you can improve upon. From here, your second point is going to be a half roll. Now, let's just say that one's really, really challenging for you. What I like to do is I'll put a kettlebell on the ground, and I'll use it to simulate that knife to help get me into a better position and build up that pathway, right? So I'm right here. Okay, okay, I'm starting to feel that. Then maybe I do a couple without the kettlebell handle, right? So now we're good at this position. And then what do? We want to get to here. But we don't want to be all congested either, right? We don't want to be all like this. You always want to move proudly. Now, get up of old, get up of new, get up of hybrid, anything like that. However you like to transition from here, whether it's your high bridge or, roll forward, that's your jam. But I have found, because I'm older and I've got a lot of injuries that impede my stability, I do a thing that I just call a switch foot. So I switch my feet to right here. And what that does for me, and can do for you if you find difficulty in this transition, is it will decrease the amount of time that you are putting load on that shoulder and that elbow, right? So it turns the movement from this to this, right? Very, very quick, seamless movement pattern. And then from here, you have a couple options. You can turn, plant, and stand, or you can windshield wiper that back knee. I'm not a fan of that one because it doesn't feel too good. Okay? Now, once we're in this position, I'm going to switch because my knee's not feeling good. Okay? Once we're in this position, this position is very challenging due to mobility. So we'll work it. This is the half kneeling windmill. With the half kneeling windmill, your focus is finding your path to the floor, right? Sometimes in this transition, when we're going down, we'll fall back. If I fall back, my heel comes up, and then my load is unstable, and then I typically just like tumbleweed to the floor, all right? To prevent that, we check our position, 90, 90, right? You have that back toe planted down, whatever feels good to your knee, okay? Just try to make sure that your structure is good right here. Not all of us have the best knees. So like right now, my knee's not happy. So from this point right here, we want to use our thigh as our highway to the floor, right? So we're going to use that, and we're going to continue that line off until we've found that stable point to where we have just a nice straight line going down and up. We don't want to be like too much here unless we're getting ready to sit back down. So if I'm right here, get tall, we can strengthen this position, but go a little bit deeper, right? So we're right here, we find that, and then maybe we bring that elbow down. We come back up, okay? We find the hip, we push, we're pushing the butt towards that wall, okay? And then I'm getting that elbow to the floor, right? So I come out, right? Come down, come back, here. So push the butt back, find your point, and then increase the angle of it. And these are just strengthening drills, right? These are movements that you want to do with light kettlebells. You're not trying to break any world records in this position right here. You're just trying to get a little bit better at your transition, so when you do your Turkish get-ups, they feel more efficient. All right? So now, we're right here, and maybe your lunge is difficult. Okay, maybe you do this right here. So what we want to think about when we're doing this lunge is we want to think that this forward leg is pulling back. You saw how the bottom moved right there? Right? So it's not, you're not going to be like in this long lunge stance when you're going to get up. But trying to give you an example of when you go to pull yourself up, you should be creating some friction into the ground, okay? And that pull, okay, and then push off that toe, okay, will help you rise up, okay? And then you come down, okay? If you lean forward, then the weight's forward, and then you're struggling to get up, right? So we're right here, right? We pull ourselves up into position. Now, sometimes with the Turkish get-up, there can be some confusing aspects to it, to where we're like, what leg do I move? What leg do I move when I'm coming back down? Right? So you're right here, like, fuck, what do I do? What do I do? Well, you can remind yourself that the leg you can touch is the leg you move. okay? And then you come down, right? Now, every time you transition from one point to the other, make sure that all of your foot is connected to the floor, right? That forward foot's connected, all right? So if I go to transition and then my heel lifts up, I'm unstable, right? You can see that right there. I'm unstable. So if I go here and I do this, I've gone out too far. No problem, okay? Sit, open your stuff, okay? And then when you go down, okay, you're just gonna go down. Now, one of the culprits behind here going down is if your hand isn't positioned correctly, your shoulder's gonna pop forward, and you're gonna create some wear and tear that we don't want, right? So when you get to this point right here, okay, this is natural, you want to open the cookie jar, right? So open the cookie jar, lefty-loosey, okay? So right here, open the cookie jar and go to the elbow. When you come up, close the jar. Open, close. And those are some little tips that you can use to help with your transition for the Turkish get-up. All right, so we're gonna do a strength building complex right now. I'm gonna go through one set of it, and then we're gonna go both sides. So, strength building complex is going to be 5 floor press, 3 half roll to elbow, 2 half kneeling windmill, and then a continuation of the Turkish get-up. So once you're done with those 2 half kneeling windmills, you'll proceed through the get-up and then come back down. Okay? So we'll get started right here. Hopefully you guys can see me. Okay. So we're gonna have that elbow close to the body, and then we're gonna bring it into position, okay, for our floor press. Right here. Floor press. Remember, your elbow's gonna be at about a 45, right? So we're gonna do 5 reps. We wanna maintain that position where our leg is extended and our head is back. Good, and 5. Now from here, okay, we're gonna roll that way. We're gonna get that kettlebell going upward, okay? While you're doing this, pay attention to what your body's doing. If that knee's buckling in, think about it, okay? Boom. Now from here, we're gonna press up, we're gonna switch our feet, and we're gonna go to our half kneeling. This starts the movement, okay? 1, 2, okay? Then we'll turn, stand, open. Remember, our thigh is our highway. Sit, open. Don't forget to open the cookie jar. Reposition as needed. 2 hands down. Roll her down the way she came. Okay? So, not a lot of weight needed for this one. Okay? Because what we're doing right here is we're doing a complex of drills that is going to help with our skill, which is the Turkish get-up. So when you're using this, you want to go with a bell that you can really focus on improving the strength of those positions. Okay, so this is going to be a ton of time under tension here. So now I'm going to the left side. Same concepts. Hand out. 5 reps. 2, 3, and we're not in a race right here. 4. It's all about connection. And 5. Find your position. Back down. Back down. Good. Go to the post. Switch your feet. Then from here, bring it around. thigh away. Find your position. Two hands down. Don't hit your baseboards. Okay, so that's going to be our complex for our Turkish get-up to help improve the strength of that. Okay? If you're going through this and you do need assistance with it, feel free to reach out to me, Maverick's Fieldhouse on Instagram or mavericksfieldhouse.com, mavericksfieldhouse.com. Okay, so that's how we can improve our get-up. Okay, super simple. Movements on paper, very, very challenging to connect with in real life. So slow is smooth, smooth is strong. Remember that. Slow, smooth, smooth, strong. Okay? And going fast does not mean that you're good at something. It just means that you're fast. Okay? So, but we want to be fast and efficient. Okay? So crawl before you walk, before you run. Okay? All right. Onward to the next exercise. We're going to be doing 2-hand swings, 1-hand swings, and hand-to-hand swings. Okay? So we'll get a few bells out for this one. Oh my goodness. And then we're going to talk about how we can improve them. Okay? So the strengthening points of the position for each, we're going to be talking about the deadlift, good morning, the hike, deadstop swings, the actual swing, the float, your handle position, okay, in relation to the body, tilting it, how it goes into the hike, and then we're going to do a complex at the end that you guys will be able to do more of on a later date or today. Okay, so for today, my purpose is to show you some things, give you some complexes, and then have you follow up for continued education and training. All right, that's the goal for today. Right? So let's talk about what we got right here. For kettlebell swing, most important aspect of this is your hinge pattern. All right, so if your hinge pattern is improper, your kettlebell swing is going to be improper. Right, so if we think about, we're going to use this dowel as our reference point for our deadlift. And what I mean by that is that when we're doing our deadlifts, your kettlebell should be behind your big toe. If it's too far in front, you're going to have to reach for your position. So for here, having the kettlebell positioned here underneath your center of mass, give or take a couple inches, it's going to force you to position to lift the kettlebell, okay, as opposed to just going and lifting it. So when we come back, we're just thinking about lengthening those hamstrings. And the reason why I use the dowel here is to remind you that your load of your body is on your arch and on your heel. And your toes are just there for moral support, all right? So if we get rid of this, we go back into our position, and then we find our deadlift pattern. Everything's here. If you do a deadlift and your knees track forward, it's going to equate to a really, really bad swing, all right? So we don't want to have that. There's going to be a little bit of knee flexion as you get heavier, but let's have the deadlift proper so the swing is set up for even more success. So our deadlift, we're right here, boom, everything's good. Now the only thing wrong with this deadlift is I'm still looking down. So I still want to be looking across the horizon because that's where I want to look when I deadlift or when I swing. When the bell is in front of me, I'm looking on the horizon. When the bell is below me, I'm looking on the floor about 6 or so feet out in front. So I'm here, and then I'm here. There's a vast majority of individuals that have been kettlebell swinging, and when they're doing it, they're leaving their head up. If I do a deadlift like this, all of the load is on my cervical, on my neck, right? So if I apply a ballistic movement to my hinge pattern, and I'm swinging, and I bring the bell behind me, and I'm looking up, all of the load of that kettlebell is on my neck, right? It's all on your neck. We don't want that, right? Because there's a great deal of supporting muscles in the neck and the traps that are involved with all of your kettlebell movements. I mean, every time you lift the kettlebell, everything is pulling you down. So everything right here has to fight to stay back. So we don't want to look up unless you're doing Olympic weightlifting. You know, look up coming out of the hole, that's fine. But in kettlebell swings, it's important to keep your head and neck neutral. Right? So neutral meaning head and neck in the same alignment. One of the ways that you can do to teach that is you can take your dowel, you can make sure that the dowel is connected to the back of your head, okay, and then to the back of your tailbone, and you can perform your hinge pattern. If you and you push up, right, you push your head up, you'll find the restriction of the dowel there, which will give you force into the back of your head because you're holding the dowel close to the body. So if you push up on it, you're going to get that instant feedback, right? Don't want that, okay? So well, you want that if you need help with correcting your movement pattern for the swing, right? So two-hand deadlift for two-hand swings, okay? And then for our one-hand deadlift, it's important that you load the extremity, all right? If you load the extremity, the arm that's going to be used, all right, you're teaching yourself to maintain balance when you kettlebell swing, okay? So for here, everything is square. If I can be square in my deadlift, then I should, in theory, be able to be square in my kettlebell swing. If you start your deadlift out, the center, your body is going to automatically compensate. It's already out of alignment. And where are you going to finish at? You're going to finish right here because that's going to be a natural position. This is not natural for a deadlift, right? This is not natural. My shoulder is completely disengaged. That is pulling everything on my shoulder and my opposite lower back, all right? So imagine if you do your deadlifts like this, all right, and you had a hook in your lower back and it went over your shoulder to that kettlebell. And when you did this, every time you go down, that hook is pulling into that muscle, all right, and just jacking it up more and more with every single rep, all right? Same thing goes with your one-arm swings, right? When you're doing your one-arm swings, if you're going heavy and you're lifting like this, all right, and you're all perfect, you're right here, you're really not in a proper position to move efficiently. So right now, you may be doing a swing, but you're really just kind of muscling into position, and over time, you're gonna tear your shoulder up, all right? So if you can't do it light, proper, then don't do it heavy because you're not getting anything out of that at all, not at all, okay? And heavy is the same for kettlebells as it is for barbell training or dumbbell training, all right? If you're doing heavy swings, you should be looking in that 3 to 6 range right in there, okay? And if your swings are like this, or if they're like this, you're not using your body. You're compensating right here, all right? And compensation just doesn't get you anything. So think about that next time you swing. Videotape yourself. If you don't know what you're looking at, send it to me and I'll help you. Good. So we got that. Okay, now we know how to lift the kettlebell from the floor properly, okay? So we can go into some good mornings. We're going to go into a two-hand, and then we're going to go into a rack loaded, okay? So two-hand, good morning, all right? For this one right here, I'm going to load it at the belly. The reason for that is it's going to teach my elbows to stay retracted to the body and my back muscles to stay turned on or flexing, right? So I'll brace my abs, I'll keep my head and neck neutral, and I'll spill the bell. And in this position, you should feel the bell wanting to fall away, but it won't because your lats, your back muscles are flexing, right? So maintain that. Now, if I wanted to do a good morning and my shoulders were up, right there, in that position, all the load is on my middle of my back, right? So and let's just say I applied that and I'm doing a swing, all right? So I come down, I do a swing. Every time I come down, it's slowly pulling on the middle of my back. So that's why your shoulder position, okay, is so important to maintaining your proper kettlebell swing, right? Proper kettlebell swing, your flow, which, now we'll talk about that here in a minute, okay? Your float's here. Okay? But the goblet good morning at the belly. Elbows are tucked in tight. Shoulders are back. Head and neck neutral. And we're just coming down, pausing, and then we're coming back up. Right? Not leaning back. There's just no point to doing that because we're not on a hyperextension or some reverse GHD thing. We're trying to work the glutes and the system, the body. So let's focus on that. Right? Now, let's say we get really, really strong with that, but now we want to challenge the system a little bit more and create some imbalance. So we can take our light kettlebell, okay, and we'll secure it with our opposite hand. We don't want to put it too far in the middle because then it's almost the same thing. So we still want to maintain loaded on the side. So we take our hand right here. We're going to give it a little bit support, and we're going to come down. We're going to come up. This hand here is causing force in, and it's keeping that lat engaged. So you're still getting in lat engagement, even though you're on one side. Right? So we're right here. We secure it, head and neck neutral. We come down and come up. Now, what we don't want to do is this. Okay? We want to keep the bell loaded to the body. Loaded to the body, down and up. Right? Another thing too, give yourself an opportunity to get better with your press by making sure that the pinky is close to the horn. Additionally, this is going to help you get better with your Turkish get-up. Right? So we're right here. Apply that force to it. And come down and come up. As you come down, if the bell is too heavy, you're going to want to bring it in like that. So bell down. Okay? Right here, hold it in tight. Make sure it stays loaded. Come down and up. Okay? That's going to improve your position when you're doing one-arm swings. So when you swing one arm, the kettlebell stays in line with the shoulder. Okay? It doesn't shrug up, and it doesn't go in the middle. Okay? We don't want that. When you swing single, it should feel as if you're swinging double. And that's why when you're coming up into position, you're right here, you use your free hand to tame the float of the kettlebell. To remind you that that shoulder stays packed nice and tight, not overly tight, just right in there, nice and settled in, right there. Not this, okay? So if you're swinging heavy and you're doing this, you're not doing yourself any favors. You're just setting yourself up for an injury 3 to 6 months down the road. All right? So now that we have how to lift the kettlebell, how to hinge properly, let's talk about this kettlebell hike. Right? The hike pattern is what is going to dictate your kettlebell swing. If your hike is off, your swing is going to be off. Right? So some skill building drills that you can do for the hike are going to be, you can use this in a progressive overload manner. Okay? Meaning you're going to have a few different size kettlebells. You can treat it just like a strength training session, okay? To build up that pattern, right? So if I'm right here and I go and I perform my hike, that's all I'm doing. From a side view, same concept. You'll notice that the angle of the kettlebell is going upward at a 45, all right? We have to have it go upward at a 45 so our lats are engaged. Our lats are engaged, and we know how to engage them because we just did goblet good mornings and single front rack good mornings. So we know that they need to be engaged. And when you do that hike, if you don't feel your back muscles say, hello, I'm here, then you're probably dragging the kettlebell across the floor. And what that means is you're just doing this. And what that's going to do is lead to that. Right? So if your hike is proper, you have a higher success rate of getting a better hip hinge. The only thing with the hip hinge is you have to remember that when you come out of that hike position, that you stand and you finish the float. Right? You don't try to get the float first and then finish the lockout position. All right? So from here, we stand, the power from the legs, goes into the upper body, and then it guides the kettlebell to that float position. All right, nice and strong right here. All right, same thing like a tall plank. If we're in a tall plank position, we're here, we're pushing everything away. All right, boom, everything's good. We don't want to be like this. All right, so those are some things that you can remember with your standing position. All right, so sometimes with the kettlebell swing, we may be using a bell where our hands might be a little bit bigger than what the handle is. So for that, you may just have to have your pinkies hanging off the edge, or get yourself a bigger kettlebell handle. All right. So that's going to be those are going to be our points of performance with a two-hand. Now with a one-arm kettlebell swing, this one right here, very, very difficult to maintain at first because the arm naturally just wants to just kind of roll in, right? But if look at this, if my arm did, like if it just rolls right in, and what happens to my shoulder? It disengages, right? So every time I go into that triangle, I disengage, right? Doesn't matter how packed I am, it's gonna disengage at some point, right? You come in, right there. It's that subtle disengagement. When you disengage from the kettlebell, you set yourself up for a potential risk for an injury, all right? If you're using lighter kettlebells, you may not have such a high risk, but if you're getting into percentages where you're working with 25, 30, and 35% of your ideal body weight, you might run a risk of compromising your anatomy. There's no point out, okay? So how we can fix that is if we look at these kettlebells, I know they're different, but you can see that they're shaped like an egg, right? An egg. And because you're using the implementation of pinky closest to the horn, you're going to be able to work on a better height position, which is going to keep your shoulder packed and retracted and ready for either a clean, a snatch, or for today, a swing. And when our hand is like this, right, it's automatically keeping that connection point of the lat right here, right? If I swing and I'm like this, as packed as I am, it's still going to move, right? So when we finish at the top of our swing, our handle position should be somewhat of an A-frame, right? It's nice, it's packed, it's retracted, it's smooth, right there, all right? This is going to be okay as well, all right? You might see a lot of Gyro Sport people do something like this. It's practical, but if you're swinging and your kettlebell is landing like this, everything's disengaged, completely turned off. And this is just basic anatomy. Here, okay? Here. It's just not going to work, all right? So, how to get better at that? Set yourself up with two kettlebells. Use one kettlebell to keep you in that position while you do your dead start heights with your other. So right here. Okay, and we're maintaining that angle throughout the hike. All right. We use this to give ourselves feedback, and we hike. Because this could happen. And then you're like, well, fuck, I'm doing it, but why am I shifting? Just like with the Turkish get up, where we use the handle to help pull ourselves to the elbow, we can do the same thing when we're trying to improve our hike position. So right here, we load both. All right, now we got it. Okay. Boom. Come up. Okay. Now, that's how we improve the two hand and then the one hand. Sometimes we'll be doing one arm swings and we'll just forget about this hand. And it'll wind up just kind of, you're doing great on your swings, but your other hand just kind of just seems to like stay glued to your hip. Okay. So let's revert back to taming the loaded arm with the free hand, right? And then when you come down, you can imagine that there's some sort of a wall behind you. So if we're doing our one-arm swing, right here, we allow the kettlebell to fall, we pause, and we pop. Pause, and pop. Pause, and pop, okay? You can also use the phrase patient. And I like to use the word patient even more because the time it takes you to say the word patient is the amount of time that you should spend in the high triangle to build up that tension to be able to slingshot that kettlebell up into position. All right, it's about pulling tension, owning it, and then releasing it when you're ready. Okay, and you're ready to do it because you're going to get to your end of range of motion, and your body's going to be like, well, let's go back up. Okay, because we're doing swings. All right, so with the phrase in mind, patient pop, patient pop, patient pop, patient pop. Patient pop is how you can improve your swing. Okay, cool. Now, we got that. We got the handle position. We got the hike. We got the float. All right? So, just doing the float. Float comes from the floor up. All right? So, from the floor up. So, up is a straight line, not up and back. So, when you bring that kettlebell from the hike, go up. And that up is going to help promote a proper float. Okay? I'm not trying to rhyme on purpose. It's just coming out that way. Right? So how to get better at your float pattern? What I like to do is just go freehand. Right? So hands go up, drop, hinge, extend, float. Drop, hinge, extend, float. And the reason for this is it teaches your brain to be patient, okay, or to react to the movement. So I'm going to react to my arms almost touching my body into that high triangle. And then I'm going to react from this load to bring the kettlebell back up. So I'm patient, and then I pop, right? The hip extension gives the energy up, and then the arms guide the kettlebell, all right? If you ever find that with your kettlebell swing, you are lifting it with your arms, you're going to put a lot of strain on your middle back and your lower back, all right? So every time you do your kettlebell swing, the bell should feel very, very weightless, no matter if it's 5 pounds or 100 pounds. It should feel weightless. If you're trying to swing a 100-pound kettlebell and it feels super heavy, even for 3 or 4 reps, you're still probably muscling it into position, or you're just using muscles that aren't required for a kettlebell swing. Okay? So hand-to-hand swing. How to do this, all right? So hand-to-hand swing. Same principles are applied, okay? So we're going to come up, boom. The kettlebell is going to float, and you're going to grab, okay? Now, if your hand-to-hand swing is not the best, you can do, instead of taming at the forearm, you can tame at the horn, okay? Tame at the horn, which is going to be that angle, and get used to bringing that hand farther out, all right? Gauging your distance and that transition point, okay? Now, when you do your hand-to-hand swings, you still want to remember that you're coming down on the loaded side, you're bringing it up, you're going to generate that force coming up, and because the angle is here, it's going to kind of rainbow over. And then when you come down, your goal is to find that position on the opposite side. You don't want to go across, because then you see what that does. I'm loaded like this, and I put weight on that, it's going to be a soup sandwich. And don't nobody likes soup sandwiches. Okay, sandwich dipped in soup. Now that's good. Okay, yeah. All right. By the way, what's everybody's favorite sandwich in soup? I'm a big grilled cheese and tomato soup kind of guy. So let me know what you guys like. I'd love to hear it. Okay. All right. So we're here. Okay. We got our nice angle. Okay. Our A-frame position. Everything is loaded. Head and neck neutral. Good. Shins are vertical. Okay. We're going to perform the swing. Tap the horn. Tap the horn. Switch. Tap the horn. Tap the horn. Switch. Tap the horn. Tap the horn. Switch. Okay. So I'm going to go here to here. If you don't like that, you can kick it under like that. So I'll show you the other version. Okay? And that switch, pause. All right? So, two options, whichever one feels better to you. Over, okay, or here. So here, okay, or that way, okay? And it sets you up for that, okay? Personally, I like the second version, all right? It just feels natural, okay? It's like, you know, you're giving somebody soup. Okay, you're like, here's the soup, right? Cool. So, all right, yeah. Okay, so that's good. Those are going to be our points of performance that we're looking to improve upon for the kettlebell swing. So now what we can do is we can do a complex to where we can use 3 different bell sizes, right? So we're going to overload with our heavy bell. Okay. Heavy bell for this array of fine kettlebells from the Kings. Okay. Oh, well, you guys can't see it. Sorry about that. Okay. So right here, bring it back just a hair. We're gonna do a little complex, right? We're gonna do 5 deadlifts, 3 deadstop swings, 2 swings with the same bell, and then 10 hand swings. Okay, so 5, 3 deadstop into 2 into 10 hand swings. Okay? So I'm gonna go through this. Right? Head and neck neutral. Okay, push everything back. We're gonna overload and stimulate the body. 2. Okay, shoulders are back as best as we can. Head is packed. Softly touch the ground and go back up. And 5. Always park the kettlebell the same way you picked it up. If you finish that 5th one and you just kind of like put it on the ground, that's what your body's going to remember. Right? Deadstop swings. We're going to do 3 directly into 2. So it's going to be a total of 5 swings. Right here. Soft and go. Patient pop. Good. 3 reps. Now. Good. Okay. Take a breather. Okay. Nothing too long. We want to keep that heart rate going. Okay. Set up our body. Set up our kettlebell. Loaded to the extremity. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Park it the way you picked it up. Cool? All right, y'all. So for a strength building complex, you're going to do 3 to 5 sets. And the focus is going to be on the quality of the movement pattern. Okay, so quality of the movement pattern is what you're looking to achieve with that kettlebell swing. Okay, so we're just under an hour. Hopefully everybody had a fantastic time. Okay, if you send me your favorite sandwich and soup to Instagram or however way you can, I'll send you guys some holiday workouts. Okay, let's answer some questions. All right, let's see where we're at. JC, could you explain single arm kettlebell swings? I feel like similar to one arm deadlift. Oh, okay, cool. So you must have asked that a little while ago. JC, feel free to submit some videos to me through Instagram. That's where I connect with everybody, or you can email me mavericksfieldhouse@gmail.com. All right. Beth said sandwiches, alfalfa sprouts, much. Woo, that sounds incredible. Okay. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Oh, Beth, thanks so much about Austin. He's 9 years old. He's a little unhappy with me right now because I haven't walked him yet. So we're going to have to walk him in a bit. Oh, Roger makes a really good point about the sandwiches. Are you a halvesies or you're a diagonal? Tells a lot about your character. I don't discriminate, Roger. I eat it anyway. One of my favorite way is actually in fourths, because then it's like they're little dunkers, you know what I mean? And then you can eat more. So, yeah, good deal. All right, y'all. Hopefully you had a fantastic time today with learning how to improve your kettlebell swing and your Turkish get up. If you feel like you're kind of at a loss with your training or anything like that, feel free to reach out to me and we can chat some more about your goals and see if possibly the field house is a good fit for you. It may not. It may not be. But what I do know is that Kettlebell Kings bells feel the best to me. All right. So I'll catch up with you guys soon. And Instagram, I'm going to answer a few more questions on you. But YouTube, I will talk with you guys soon. Don't be shy. You can email me or message me on Instagram. Looking forward to chat with you guys on YouTube. Bye.